Today I am reading the Hallo-Wiener. I am Aaron today, and I am in Mrs. Hogg's class. The Hallo-Wiener by Dav Pilkey. There was a dog named Oscar who was half a dog tall and 1.5 dog long. Because of his unusual shape and size, all the other dogs made fun of him. Wiener dog, they called him. And Oscar did not like it one bit. Oscar's mother was no help every morning. When the dogs walked to obedience school, Oscar's mother stood in the front yard waving and calling out, "For a whirl, my little vine and sausage." And the other dogs laughed and laughed. Most of the time, Oscar was upset by all this, but today was Halloween, and Oscar was thinking about other things all day long. At obedience school, Oscar's daydreamed about Halloween night, trick-or-treating, and scary costume. Today's lesson, I would not sniff my neighbor. When Oscar got home, he dashed upstairs to start working on his scary Halloween costume. But when he got to his room, a surprise was waiting for him. "Happy Halloween, my little sausage-link," said Oscar's mother. "I've made you a costume to wear for trick-or-treating." Happy Halloween to Oscar. Love, Mom. When Oscar saw the costume, he nearly fainted. It was a giant hot dog bun, complete with mustard, and guess who was supposed to fit in the middle? Oscar did not want to hurt his mom's feelings, so he decided to wear the silly costume. That night, all the dogs were on the block, gathering to show off their costume. Everyone was looking quite scary. Then Oscar showed up looking quite freaked. When the dogs saw Oscar in his silly costume, they howled with laughter. "Look at Oscar! Look at Oscar!" they cried. "He really is a wiener dog." Poor Oscar was so embarrassed. Wiener dog, they laughed, and the other dogs as they ran off to go trick-or-treating. Oscar tried to keep up with the dogs, but his silly costume kept slowing him down. All night long, the other dogs howled every treat they could get on their hands. So by the time Oscar got to reach our house, there was no treats left. Soon trick-or-treating was over, and the dogs walked home past a spooky graveyard. Suddenly, a horrible hissing sound filled the air. The dogs stopped dead in their tracks. When then out of the graveyard rose a grave ghost ghastly monster. The dogs screamed for their lives. They dropped their treats and jumped into a nearby pond. The monster moved closer by. "Don't eat us," cried the dogs. The monster yelped and hissed. "Boo, hoo, hoo," suddenly the dogs. The monster jumped up and down. "Somebody save us," shrieked the dogs. Just then, somebody showed up. It was Oscar. Because Oscar was so short, he saw something that the other dogs had not seen. "That no monster," cried Oscar, and with a loud bark, Oscar yelped and to the rescue. Oscar clamped and chugged and tripped with all his muscle. Rip, and there suddenly, sitting in the moonlight, were a couple of ordinary cats. "Help!" cried the cats. "We're being attacked by a giant Frankfurter." And they ran off, screaming through the graveyard. The dogs in the ponds had seen the whole thing, and now it was their turn to be embarrassed. "We've been crunched into a pond by a couple of cats," they moaned. But Oscar was a true friend. He leapt into the water and swam out to the dogs. Oscar's silly costume made a wonderful life raft, and the dogs climbed up. "All aboard," Oscar called, and he dog pawed back to the store. When they got back to dry land, all the dogs shared their Halloween treats with Oscar. Because Oscar had been so brave, the dogs changed his nickname from Wiener Dog to Hero Sandwich. And from that night, nobody ever made fun of Oscar again. Happy Halloween. The end.